A bizarre incident occurred in the outskirts of an American suburb called Raccoon City. It was later revealed that the terrible disaster had been caused by the T virus, a mutagenic toxin created by the international enterprise Umbrella Incorporated for use in bioweapon experiments. The Raccoon City Police Department's Special Stars Unit immediately began investigation in this. The case was apparently closed, thanks to the efforts of STARS members Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine. But the Umbrella Corporation's experiments were far from finished.
Oh, OBS, why do you not record the pre-rendered cutscenes? Okie dokie, so I was originally going to play Vampire Crawlers today because I had heard that it was coming out. Unfortunately, that's not for another few hours, so why not Resident Evil 2 one more time, just for funsies?
Freeze! Who are you? What are you doing here?
Don't shoot! I'm a
I
human!
want to try to record the pre-rendered cutscenes, but for some reason the GOG version of the game through OBS, it just doesn't record them for some reason. It gets the sound, but not the video, and I don't understand why.
I ain't got no clue, darling. By the time I noticed something was wrong, the entire city
So,
was
unfortunately,
infested with zombies.
for the stream, you'll have to just live with your imagination of what's going on during these cutscenes. My glorious YouTube viewers will get to see the actual cutscenes because this works just fine for whatever reason with NVIDIA capture. Just gonna real quickly verify that the volume is good. That's the wrong option. Turning down a smidge. Okay. Man, I wanted to play Vampire Crawlers because I've been just playing the demo a lot recently. But the full version's not out until a few hours from now, so I figured why not try to just go through Claire's scenario A and actually succeed in doing the scenario. Every other time, damn it. Every time I try to do this before, I fail right at the very end. I get to the final boss and then I just die. I fail because I get stun locked in a corner or something like that. I misjudge how much damage Birkin actually does, but I'm feeling good about this time. This time's the time. You may have noticed there on the bottom of your screen, taking up an ungodly amount of real estate, I have decided to add some goals to my Twitch streams here, / YouTube videos. A lot of these are really just excuses to do things I was going to do anyway, but I figure why not try to become just... try to get some validation and pretend like this is actually a good idea, so I am leaving my fate about playing some games up to other people and also how I go about playing them. If I'm honest here, the one that I'm really most hesitant that I don't want to do is the Path of Exile 1 because I've never played it, I have no real interest in it, so having to play the game just kind of seems like not a particularly great use of my time. Like, you've probably read my Twitch profile before where I refer to myself as a Diablo apologist. Lord and Patriot, I was going to play that anyway. I'm lying to people if I say that I have no intention of playing it. But Path of Exile 1, I had no real interest in it. I was always more interested in the sequel, which is great, I love it. Version 0.51. So if I can convince people to join, give me follows on here, YouTube, tumblr.com/AimToSuperVillain, I could be like, oh, well, I guess I, hands tied, gotta play Path of Exile now.
Hang in there. Are you the only officer left in the building?
Who are you?
Claire Redfield. I'm looking for my brother Chris.
I need to
We
replay
lost
Resident Evil
contact
3
with him
fully.
over
I don't
10
know that
days
game
ago.
nearly as well as I know the other ones.
Jill Barry. Every last Stars
The only
team
other
member has
classic,
disappeared.
air quote, classic Resident Evils that
We
I don't
should
know
have
that much
listened to
about, route-wise,
What
is
happened?
Zero and Code Veronica.
About 2 months ago, there was this incident.
I
involving
beat
these
Code Veronica, not Code
zombie-like
Veronica, Zero
creatures
once, back when it first came
in
out
a
on the
mansion
GameCube,
located in the outskirts of
but
this
I never really touched
city.
it ever since. I
Chris
just didn't really care
and the
for
other
it.
Stars members
I technically have
discovered
never
that
actually
Umbrella
finished
was
Code
behind
Veronica at all.
everything. At the risk of their own lives.
I would
But
always
no
just get to
one
the final boss
believed
of
them.
Alexia, and
Are
I,
you okay?
through poor
Don't worry
planning,
about me.
just had
Just
like
rescue
no
the
health
survivors
or
in the
ammo
other
left over,
rooms.
so you can't
Here,
really knife
take this key
the
card.
final boss
You
to
should
death,
be able
for
to
what I
unlock
remember.
the doors in the hall with this. Now go.
I'm sure you can, but
But...
I didn't
Just
know how
go.
to.
Okay. Just hang in there. I'll be back soon.
But yeah, Resident Evil 3, I like a lot. I played it a ton when I was a kid, but I haven't played it in nearly 20-odd years, so I more or less forgot, like, the puzzle solutions, the routes, everything like that. The only thing that I remember to help speed the game along somewhat is when you encounter Nemesis for the first time outside of the RPD, just choose to fight the monster, run over to Brad's corpse, get his STARS ID, and that'll save you some time having to track down Jill's to get, I think it's guns, I don't remember honestly. It's an odd change because with RE3 make, I can just zoop through that in an hour or two. Less if I'm using New Game Plus weapons, but then again, that's always just cheating, isn't it? I'm kind of surprised, not that this has anything to do with anything, with the alternate costumes that you can unlock for Leon and Claire, that Sherry and Ada don't get any sort of alternate costumes. I could have sworn they did, but no, I've been playing this a lot recently, and Sherry's still just Sherry, and Ada's still in that red dress. See, like the Twitch stream, they gotta miss the Hunter reveal. That's sad. It's a good pre-rendered 1988 cutscene. I gotta get really better about talking while playing because I'm too used to just playing games quietly without an audience, if you will. But then again, it's also been a while since I've actually played games with the original sound and not listening to something else while playing this game that I played 500,000 times before. And we'll just leave that one for now. I like to think I've more or less got it down to be able to sorta do this quickly. I was gonna say speedrun, but there's no way this would qualify for a speedrun. I'm sure there are people who can actually just like tear through the game in about an hour. The last time I actually completed the game on the PlayStation 5, it said it took me about 2.5 hours, so... but then again, speedrunners do just sort of live and breathe their game, don't they? You just seemingly play like a dozen hours of Resident Evil 2 daily, and that's it. You don't do anything else. You don't play like Mojica or anything else. You don't play something else that strikes your fancy just because you're just like, you could play Resident Evil, or what if you played Octopath Traveler 0? That's my problem. I'm kind of just like ADD, indecisive about these sorts of things. Where it's like, yeah, I could play, you know, these games that I enjoy, these games that I like and play a lot, or what if, just for fun, I throw a few extra hours into just grinding ranks in Magic Arena. Or just load up Diablo, Path of Exile, whatever, hit a guy with a sword once, clap your hands, go, oh, what a grand time had by all, and then just do that for an hour or two. Also, I don't know, I just recently been having an issue where it's like, alright, well, you're playing Neo 3, Octopath 0, actually finish the games, please. And it's like, but I don't wanna. What if I played literally anything else? What if I played some other game? You know, Neo 2 instead of Neo 3, and it's like, well, that's just silly. The only reason I play Neo 2 a lot recently is because I have it on Steam Deck, and I play that at work. So, I'll just, since Neo 3 doesn't run well on the Steam Deck, I just play Neo 2 at work because it's basically the same. You know what I'd like to see? This has nothing really to do with games that I play or anything like that, kind of, sort of. I want to see them make a Stranger of Paradise 2. That was a fun game. I think they could have improved some gameplay stuff about it, but overall, I like these Neo Soulsborne sorta masocore action games. Especially when they're just like, Ancient Japan's fun and all, but I like when they explore other settings. You'll never catch me saying I think Neo's a bad game because I've played all three of them hundreds of hours apiece. But, like, Wolong. I should have gone... Oh, wait, no, I can't go that way anyway. Did I get rid of the metal? Okay. I like Wolong. I like the demon, zombie, magical, dark magic in Wolong. It was good. I liked that a lot. Same game as Neo and Stranger Paradise, but, you know, just ancient China instead of ancient Japan, or Final Fantasy 1. Does Final Fantasy 1 even have a world name? Like, I know that the continent that the first part of it takes place in is Corneria, but it's like, does it have an actual name, or is it just Final Fantasy 1 world? I'm sure that it has an actual name. I don't think Final Fantasy 2 has a name. But I did not play that nearly enough to be able to say that with any sort of real confidence. Oh, that was way too early. Again, it's another situation where it's just like, I know some of the continent names, country names in Final Fantasy 2, but it's like, I don't know if Paramechia is set in a specifically named location, or if it's just pseudo-generic fantasy world 1982 edition. Like with the some older RPGs, yeah, they definitely have names. You know, you got Britannia. You know, some of these places have names for their worlds, but it's like the Final Fantasies, Fire Emblem. I don't know. I don't think it matters. Probably no one actually cares about this. I care because I'm a weirdo who likes lore. Also, it's just like, hey, that sounds neat. You know, if Final Fantasy 2 or 3 or any of the Final Fantasies up until... The only Final Fantasy world I know for sure has a name is Ten Spira, but it's like... I don't know if any of the other places have an actual name. Was Ten Spira? I don't know. I didn't actually play Final Fantasy X. I joined Final Fantasy really late. Like, I don't think Final Fantasy VII world has a name other than the world of Final Fantasy VII. And then there's, what's the world name for World of Final Fantasy? Well, there you go. That's the title, isn't it? Like, now that I'm thinking about this, Kingdom Hearts. There's Hollow Bastion, there's Destiny Island. The big Castle Oblivion, all that sort of stuff, but it's like, is the original world named at all? Who knows? Nomura knows. Kingdom Hearts superfans know. I don't. Despite my love of Kingdom Hearts 2, and most of the Kingdom Hearts', I'm probably considered a casual fan. I almost ran directly into that man's arms. I ruined a touching romantic scene. How cruel of me. really wish these two were closer together. I'm just gonna reset them. But yeah, like, I don't know if very many RPGs of the time, of the late 80s, early 90s, if they even really bothered naming their respective worlds. I'm sure it's like Thetis, you know, the Dragon Age setting, except the Final Fantasy setting. The Dragon Quest setting, the Secret of Mana Chrono Trigger setting. Those are the only RPGs I know. I don't know video games. I've been lying to you. Oh god, Again, though, I don't think that back then people really cared about that sort of thing. It's only like nowadays that people are so obsessive and weird about in-game lore. But I always just sort of found that stuff interesting. Like, I don't know, I just always found it interesting whenever it was like, Warcraft is set in Azeroth, and it's like, oh, that's cool. Warcraft 2 is set in Lordaeron, and it's like, oh, that's a different place. That's cool. Things like that, and it's just, I was an easily impressed child. I'm an easily impressed adult, what can I say? But, like, I'm sure that this is all just extra fluff no one really cares about, but it's like, I just think it's interesting. I'm one of these dorks who buys lore books for Dark Souls, etc., where it's like, this has a description of what Artorias did in the Abyss. I don't think that's actually a thing that happened in any of these art books, but it's just a for example. But, you know, back then, back in the 80s, 90s, I don't think anyone really cared enough to commit that sort of stuff to paper. Like, I'm sure there's probably some text document, old piece of paper that they didn't shred one day that was like, did you know that the world of Phantasy Star is like Mars after it got exploded 400 times? I don't know anything about Phantasy Star. I want to play Phantasy Star because I recall seeing a thing about the dungeons in Phantasy Star 2, where this person was more or less just like, look at how complex these got for no good reason. And I enjoy these dungeon crawler RPGs. Those are fun. I know that Phantasy Star was like one of the first games to have a female protagonist. You know, they kind of pulled a Metroid, except you knew from the start that Alice was a woman. Alice? I think re-releases changed her name slightly, but it's like Alys. I know that there's a sequel, and there's like 3 other sequels before the MMO. Could not tell you a single thing about any of them. I think one of them is called Generation of Doom. I think that's the 4th one. But, like, I don't know anything about Phantasy Star. Up until roughly 2020, I didn't really care that much about RPGs. I was more just like an action shooter guy. But recently, if you want to count 6 years old as recent, I've gotten a lot more interested in just like turn-based RPGs. These big CRPG classics like the original Baldur's Gates, Icewind Dale, that sort of thing. But, like, back in 2015 or so, you could be like, play Final Fantasy 15. And I'd be like, I don't want to. I have no interest in this. I don't care about the pretty boys. That wasn't until years later that I started caring about the pretty boys. But, nowadays, it's like, maybe I should play Final Fantasy 15. I played 13 and I liked it.
Claire,
And
you made it.
I just...
Yeah.
I've seen stuff about
you seen
15
a
that I
little
think
girl
looks
around
good.
here?
It's just I just haven't played it.
Yeah, you just missed her. Who is
But,
she?
you know, this
I
is
don't know.
technically
But
not
it's too dangerous for her to stay here
a
alone.
real
Leon,
RPG.
I'll go look for her.
I'm
You
air
go and
quoting
find
there
us
as
a way
well.
out of here.
Of course.
But,
Before I forget, here's a radio.
Which is
That
really
way we
weird
can keep
because,
in
like,
touch if
even back
something
then,
comes up.
I did like the Dragon Quest games. Dragon Quest 9 was one of my favorites for the DS. I've sunk a lot of time into that. I wonder if my cartridge even still works. But, I don't know, like, Final Fantasy and stuff is just like, okay, cool, don't care. Star Ocean, similar. But recently, over the past few years, I've just been more interested in this sort of thing. Maybe Fire Emblem had something to do with it. Maybe that's what started turning me on to them. Because despite my dislike of the general story, Fire Emblem Fates was one of these games that really got me into strategy RPGs bigger than I previously had been. Like most strategy RPGs I played way back when was Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor, for instance. Which hardly anyone else has ever played, but it's one of those games that I liked, and I played it a lot in college. Sorry, I had to adjust volume there again because I worry that I'm peaking. Is that the right word? Peaking? Can you tell I don't really do this? That I'm kind of just like in the very beginning stages of it, so it's all gonna sound like garbage anyway. But where was I going with any of that? Final Fantasy. Let's talk about Final Fantasy a bit. I haven't really played very many of the Final Fantasies. I've played like 5 of the numbered Final Fantasy games. I played 1. I played a bit of 2, but I don't really count myself as having played that. Because that was like an hour nearly 20 years ago. So it's like, I don't really consider myself having played that game. I played Final Fantasy 3. I played that on the DS remake. That was fun. I've never really messed around with 4. Like, I know the general plot of 4, but I could not tell you when exactly these things happen or gameplay around these sections. Except for maybe the sacrifice of Palom and Porum. I think that was their names. Spoilers for a nearly 40-year-old game at this point. But, like, I don't remember why exactly Cecil? The main character, Cecil. Why he became a paladin, other than I think it was because he realized he'd been duped all these years to basically do the evil empire's dirty work. And so he became a paladin to atone. I know Kane's like the poster boy for your best friend who betrays you at every given opportunity, but I don't really know much about Kane, other than he's a Dragoon and his name is Highwind. I should just drop off this one singular acid round. But I didn't really play for... I own it. I have the Pixel Remaster and the Steam release of the 3D remake from when they put that on the regular DS. Which, that was a fun thing they did. Why did they quit doing that? I know that I guess people just probably didn't like them that much, but like they should have put more Final Fantasy games in the DS-ification array and done that some more. But anyway, didn't play 4, didn't play any of the spin-offs for 4, the sequel, after years. I kind of played 5, but this is another situation where it's like I didn't get particularly far. When I played the game, I had a Game Boy Advance version of the game, but for whatever reason, this copy that I had was broken, so I would hit a certain point in the story, roughly 5 hours in, and my save would just get deleted. It didn't matter which save slot I used, how many saves I made. I would hit a certain story point, and that save file was just gone forever. And I did this a few times. I would, grind the jobs, so my guys were higher level, like basic white mages, red mages, and so on. Warriors and things like that. I don't remember the classes in the game. But I would hit the mystical point where my faulty cartridge decided to just delete my saves. And so eventually I just gave up trying to play it because at the time, I could only go through the same stuff I was only willing to lose 5 hours of progress so many times before eventually I just decided, to hell with this, we're moving on. And, this is one of these games where it's like, does that count as me playing it? I guess, probably, but my own internal insane metric says no. I don't really consider having played a game until, like, more than halfway through it. Or some other seemingly random, arbitrary plot point. I don't know. Don't try to make sense of my system here. It doesn't even make sense to me. I'm the one that came up with the damn thing. But, I played that for about 5 hours or so, technically. But I never finished it, so I don't really count Final Fantasy V as a game that I played. I'm one of these people who knows that the guy's name is Butts, and that's about it. I'm a big old mature boy who's just like, hee hee hee, Butts. But as far as, like, plot stuff, couldn't tell you. I think Ferris is a pirate woman who is secretly related to the other girl of the party who's like the princess of some land who had to run away because the villain of the game destroyed it. I think there was an old guy named Tella, although that could have been 4. But I didn't really play 5. I liked it from what I played. I love a game with a job system, but never played it. Got 5 hours in, but I never played it. I never played Final Fantasy VI. I've heard everything about it, best game ever, best Final Fantasy ever. Kefka's the greatest, the opera, all that sort of jazz. Never played it. one of these days maybe I will, but I'm not. It's kind of a low priority to me. It's like Chrono Trigger. People love Chrono Trigger. I don't care. I just have no real interest in it. But yeah, of the original Final Fantasies before they made the big leap and it got popular, the only ones I really played were 1 and 3, which were well after the fact. You know, DS remake for 3, my totally legitimate Final Fantasy 1 cartridge on my laptop way back in like 2007. 2007? I don't know. 2008. Let's go 2008. We'll pretend like that was the time. But I also never actually played Final Fantasy VII until years afterward. 2020, if I'm being honest. 2020. Like, I watched my older brother play it. He loves that game. He was a big RPG head, but it's like at the time when I first saw it, I didn't give a single damn about Final Fantasy. It was like, it's Final Fantasy. And I was like, oh, that game looks bad. I'm gonna play Medieval, a game where you play as a skeleton knight instead. That's much more fun. I'm 12. But I never played Final Fantasy VII until right around the time the remake was coming out. And I didn't start the game because the remake was coming out. It just kind of coincidentally fell that way. It was just like, I should play Final Fantasy VII. I've never done that before. There's probably some reason why so many people like this game. But, you know, at the time, it was like, Final Fantasy VII is like, okay, just take that thought out of my head and just toss it over there. However, at the time, in the early 2000s, I did play Final Fantasy VIII. I never finished Final Fantasy VIII, but I did play it. So, make of that what you will. I don't know if I ever finished it. I think I did. I think I know where it goes with time compression and everything. Ultimisia is the real villain, but she's like a reincarnation of Renoa. I think that's how that plot goes. If that is, I don't know. Like I said, I played this like way back, early 2000s, 2002-ish or so. 13-year-old me didn't care about that. He preferred to play games like Medal of Honor or Resident Evil. But one of the things I remember about Final Fantasy VIII, and this is unrelated to the game itself, my brother had a friend at the time. I don't remember his name because that was his friend, he saw me playing Final Fantasy VIII. It was some scene where Seifer was talking to his henchman, Fujin. I think that was the girl's name, the girl with the gray hair. Was the other guy's name Raijin? Anyway, he saw me playing this, and he was just like, you know, I can beat this game in, like, 3 hours. And even to young 13 or so year old me, I was just like, that doesn't sound true at all. You're making this up. But he's like, nah, man, I promise you, I can totally beat this game completely end to end in like 2 hours. And I just remember being young and just getting like really annoyed at him because like, you're making things up. No, you can't. Stop that. I don't know why I got so up in arms over my brother's friend being a lying dip about how he can totally beat a 4-disc RPG in 2 hours. 2 to 3 hours. But that's just one of those memories I remember. Don't remember other important things, but by golly, I remember that. Do I need the lighter for anything else right now? I don't think so. Like, I know you need that for the press conference room. I know you need that for the flare gun near the sky tram, but that's way later. That's like an hour from now. Hopefully that actually muted that, because I've recently found out that I could just put mute onto a button, so this way I can actually just hit a button and not cough directly into your ears versus having to painstakingly edit them out. Didn't play Final Fantasy IX. Just never did. Final Fantasy X came out at the time when I was in junior high, and so it was like, maybe I should pretend to not be as into video games as I am. This did not last long. But, you know, it was out there. I saw like commercials for it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like that Lulu chick, but I didn't really care about anything else. But, I don't know if I liked Riku back then, but anyway, Final Fantasy X existed. I never played it. Didn't play 10-2. I tried playing 11. Like, I didn't play it on the original PC or PS2 releases. I tried it years later when it got ported to the Xbox 360 of all things, where I didn't realize at the time that you needed to actually equip weapons in order to use weapons in that game. So you might be able to guess how well that particular free month of the game went for me. Let's see. Didn't play 11, didn't play any of the 11 expansion packs. I saw ads for them, and I was like, oh, that looks cool, but not gonna play this game. I don't think I was really into fantasy back then either, now that I think about it. But, then there was Final Fantasy 12. Didn't play that. I had seen some character arts for, like, Fran, Penelo, Ash with her hot red miniskirt, that sort of thing. But it's like, okay, I like the look of that balthier fella, but that was about it. But I never played the game. There was another situation where I watched my brother play most of it, and I didn't actually play it myself. Need to hit the item box because this is not good. But then, of course, you got the, oh, also, like, any of the Final Fantasy spin-offs at the time, you should just assume I've never played or touched any of them. I've played maybe 20 minutes of Crisis Core shortly after I played Final Fantasy VII Original. But I never finished it. I think everyone knows how that game ends, really. But I never played it myself. I don't know about the slot machine mechanic. The Gambit system? Is that what it's called? I don't know. But I've never played most of the Final Fantasy spin-offs. And then in 2010 or so, Final Fantasy 13 came out, and I didn't really like have any interest in it. I thought it looked kind of neat just because I liked the way lightning looked. This is another situation. I'm gonna quit repeating myself so much, but this is another situation where I watched my older brother play the game. He loved the Final Fantasy games. He played 13, 13-2, 13-3 Lightning Returns. I did not touch any of these until years later, where I played 13. I have not finished 2. I've been meaning to go back to it, but it's just... I'm not native from Although I do have a bit of a funny anecdote regarding Lightning Returns, so... My older brother played that game. He got all the way to the end of the game, where you fight the boss, Bunavelza, I think he's called. And for some reason, the PlayStation 3 copy that he had, because he didn't play it on the Xbox, he's very anti-Xbox, not that I blamed him at the time. Or at the time I was just like, well, why not? Xbox has the game, just play the game there. But, you know, game consoles. Anyway, he fought the final boss, and the game would just sort of freeze during the final cutscene. This is the first time in, like, forever since Marvin's actually grabbed me. But, the cutscene would freeze at a point where, the character Snow, this, blonde guy who kind of looks like a snowboarder, he's doing, like, he's raising his hand up sort of thing. Like, we can do this together, Lightning. You know, show Bunavelza our power of humanity and that sort of thing. But it kind of looks like he's flipping you off. So I just thought that was funny, because the game froze and just more or less crashed on him at this point, and it just looked like the game was just flipping him off because he was playing the game. I don't know if he ever actually went back to, like, try a different copy of the game to get the ending with the trophies and all. I think he just, like, YouTubed the ending. Not that I blame him. But, yeah, that was just something that I just remember quite vividly is, you know, he beat the final boss after, like, an hour or two struggle, and then the game just flipped him off, and it's like, oh, that's great. Square, you're so brave for just flipping him the bird. I love you. I wonder if I'm getting slightly sick again, because it's been slightly colder recently. Yeah, that'd be annoying. But anyway, I didn't play 14 because I didn't play MMOs. I don't play MMOs. Which is funny to say considering I own like every single Final Fantasy 14 expansion for reasons. People I know that I wanted to get to know better were like, hey, play Final Fantasy 14. It's like, you bet.
I thought you were another one of those zombies.
Are you Chief
Didn't play
Irons?
14 when it first came out. I don't think anyone
me.
did.
And just who are you? No,
I didn't
don't
play
bother
15
telling me.
because I
It
didn't
makes no
really
difference.
care about that at the time.
You'll end up just like all the others.
I just remember another situation involving other people
That's the
saying
mayor's
how
daughter.
People
I
I
was
know
told to
played
look
the
after
game.
her. But I
You
failed.
know, we're playing a game bad
miserably.
such inefficiently.
Just
I can
look
do it
at her.
better. There's
She
a,
was a true beauty.
super boss in
Her
15
skin
called an
nothing short of
Adamantoise,
perfection.
which is just a giant
But
turtle.
it will soon
Just a big
putrefy
turtle guy
and she will
just
turn into
cruising
a
around the
zombie
world.
within the hour like
And
all the others.
There must be some
My
way to
brother,
stop
who
it.
played the game,
In a manner of speaking, there is.
it took him like
Either by putting a bullet
a
through her brain,
while to beat it, like more than
or
half an
by
hour.
decapitating her completely.
And I was talking to a friend of mine at the time, and he was just like, well, why did it take him so long? You can do that fight in like 10
I think
minutes.
that taxidermy used to be my hobby.
And so I mentioned it to him
But
and
no
to my
longer.
brother, and he was just like, oh, that's such crap.
I'd really like to be alone now.
You cannot beat that thing in less than 20. I was like, oh, that's what he said. Oh man, I am just now struck by the fact that there is like nearly 10 years between Final Fantasy 15 and 16. Long enough for me to actually get into the series proper. But yeah, I haven't played 15. I will probably one day, unless I die first, which is looking likely. But I didn't play 15.
Let me go!
Easy
I've
there.
seen
I'm
some of
not
the
a
stuff about it
zombie.
where like you
You're
can
safe
unlock
now.
Power Ranger Super Sentai costumes for the cast, which I thought that was funny, but
Leon, come in.
the only thing
I
that
found
really
the
stood out
girl,
to me about
and I
Final
cleared
Fantasy
the wreckage that was
15
blocking the corridor.
was the character of Gladiolus.
My name's Claire. What's yours?
Sherry.
Do you know where your parents are?
They both work at the Umbrella Chemical Plant, near the city limits.
The chemical plant? Then what are you doing here?
My mom called and told me to go to the police station because it was too dangerous to stay at home.
From the look of things, I'd say she was probably right. But it's dangerous here as well.
But yeah, I didn't really know anything about Final
But
Fantasy
there's
15.
something out there. I don't know what it is.
I
but
try
I
not to
saw
just
it.
reference other
Much
YouTube
larger
videos, but I
than
seem to
any of
recall
those
watching
zombies.
a video of the
And
time
it's coming after me.
where the person was like
What was
ranking
that?
the
That's what I was
sexiness of
telling
the
you
characters from
about.
Final Fantasy
It's
15.
here.
Sherry, wait!
And Gladio showed up in there, and it's like, well, yeah, of course he did. There's a reason why my husband showed up in that video. But, you know, it was written by, obviously, a straight guy, because Gladio is pretty low on the list, but characters like Aranea, Gladio's sister, different character, they're higher up on the list, and it's just like, what? Why you gotta do Gladio like this?
Chief?
Can I do Gladio like that? But, you know, Aranea, Luna Freya, I want to say Iris, but I don't think that was her name. I don't remember this character from this game I never played's name for the life of me. I can name the boys. I can name the main cast. I can name the villain. I can name most of the characters, but Gladio's sister, no idea. I know that for some reason they changed Sydney into Sid, and it's like, that's silly. Why would you do that? I mean, I've read the reason why it said they changed the name to Cindy, because allegedly that's easier for Americans to pronounce. Which, Sydney isn't that hard of a name. Just... come on, man. But, yeah. I don't even remember where they ranked Sydney on that list, now that I think about it. Miss Fan Service. But, anyway. I know that the DLC, they, like, sort of just, like, inserted into the main campaign. It was, you know, like, some of the stuff was, like, Prompto disappeared. He fell off a train, I think it was, in, one of the chapters. His DLC is about what he got up to during his adventures then. Wait, I don't think there's even anything this way. Why am I doing this? Yeah. Need the club key for that one. But, you know, Prompto, he got blinded, and so here's what Prompto did when he was stricken with the blindness. I think Aranea showed up during either Prompto or Gladio's DLC. And then there's episode Arden, which I don't know anything about. But I've heard things about what they were planning on doing with the various DLCs, and it's like, that's kind of lame if true. The one thing that I remember about everything I saw about Final Fantasy 15, there's a part near the end of the game, Noctis and the boys are getting ready to attack Arden and his castle in Insomnia, I think that's where that's set. But you know, they're getting ready for the inevitable like suicide mission, and Noctis. This might have been happened like post credits, but you know, he's talking to the guys and he's like, "Well, we might die," and I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the exact wording, but he was like, "If anything happens, you guys were like the best of friends, etc." And it just bugged me, and I didn't even play the game, and it bugged me. They should have just let Noctis say he loved them. You can say you love someone and not want to, you know, have a cuddle puddle, but, you know, it's just one of those things where it's just like, I don't know if this is changed in the Japanese script at all, but it's like, you guys can say, you know, he loves his friends. It's fine. Emotions aren't wrong. But anyway, I don't really know much of where the story goes with Final Fantasy 15. The only things I remember that I've seen about it are the Leviathan summoning when you fight Leviathan. Arden's villain rant where he's in the process of dying. Spoilers, the bad guy loses. And getting really annoyed about how they didn't let Noctis say he loves his friends. And it's just like, I don't know. That was 15. I didn't play it, but I might one of these days. There was a time in my life where I was just sort of buying like literally every single game that came to mind on Steam for myself, because I'm fooling myself into thinking I can totally burn through 1,000 games.
I've been looking everywhere for you
Before the grim inevitability. And Final Fantasy 15 just happens to be one of them.
If we stay here, that
although,
monster
admittedly, I
will
want to play
find
12
us.
first.
Let's go.
No, I won't.
But, yeah.
What's the matter?
I didn't play
Don't you
any of the
trust
14
me?
expansions. I've heard about them.
It's not
Like, I followed the
that,
story
It's
about
because of
them,
my
just
daddy.
hearing
He's
various,
over
like,
there. I heard him call my
podcasters
name.
and theory crafters talk about what was going
Daddy
on in
must
the
have been
narrative
attacked
in
by the
14.
monsters. I have to help
But
him.
I never played it myself. I played for a short time
Wait,
a few
Sherry,
years
don't
ago,
go alone.
but I never made it past
Sherry!
base Final Fantasy 14. I didn't get to Heaven's Word, which is apparently really when it just gets its hooks in you. But I remember seeing they announced 16, and I didn't really think much of it at the time. It was just sort of like, oh yeah, that makes sense. You got to make an actual new Final Fantasy after all the 7 remakes. At the time, there was only the one 7 remake. But eventually, 16 comes out, and so I play it. Despite not really having any particular knowledge or interest in the game. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'm a Final Fantasy 16 apologist. Like, I know that it's threat thin narratively. There's a whole bunch of plot stuff that just goes completely unaddressed in the game itself. You gotta read a book or a wiki to find out about how the Rosarians treat the Dominants and things like that. But it's like, I kind of don't mind it. I would have loved to see more about, like, why Barnabas was the way he was. Barnabas is the king of the bad guy nation who's basically causing war and strife in the world for, at the time, inscrutable reasons. You eventually find out that he's doing this because a god, a type of creature called Ultima, is doing this. Ultima is like an alien who, I think that their whole goal is that they just want to, like, drain all life from the planet Valisthea, however it's pronounced. I don't remember, but 16 has a problem similar to 15, I feel. And I love the guy, you know, he's a fun goofball on the internet. I don't really like Ben Starr's acting in that game. Maybe it's just down to voice direction, but, like, he is just so quiet and monotone throughout most of the entire game. It's like, when he's playing, like, 12 or 13-year-old teenage Clive, when, he turns into Ifrit and kills Phoenix, and he's, you know, screaming about Joshua. That was good. I liked it when he was actually able to put emotion into it, but, like, for most of the game, he's just got the gruff, manly whisper. And it's like,
Claire!
that's most of the cast, actually, now that I think about it.
Sherry, are you okay?
The guy
Did
that
you
played
find
Sid,
your dad?
Yes,
Ralph
I'm okay.
Innes, I think his
But I
name is.
couldn't find him.
He's got a similar thing. He
But
has
I
the
did
same
find
problem
something
in
else for
Diablo
you.
4, where
Here.
he's just got the mystic,
Here's another.
grim voice that doesn't, you know, raise or lower in any real particular
Thanks,
way.
sweetie. Now, why don't you come over
But,
here? I want you to
you know,
stay with me.
They can do emotional stuff. Like,
Claire!
I really
reach
don't
the
know if it's
ventilation
just
hole
like
anymore.
they
Don't
should
worry,
have
I'll find another way.
made the scriptwriter take another pass
can
at
take care
it,
of
or they
myself.
should have got a slightly better director.
Wait,
but, like, there's
Sherry,
so
come back.
much
Sherry!
of the
Sherry!
voice acting in this game that it just kind of rubs me the wrong way, you know? Like, I don't recall Jill having any real, like, emotional anything about the scenes when you're attacking the castle area from when she was a slave for the Waloed Empire. You know, they go to confront the guy who basically made her life a living hell for a decade or so, but it's like, you know, he's doing his mustache-twirling evil villain spiel, but Jill's just like, I'ma get you, and doesn't really, like, emote at all, and it just bugs me. But would you believe that I actually count this as one of the better Final Fantasies I've played just because of the gameplay aspect of it? Like, I will not go to bat for the story at all. I think it really desperately needed like another pass, I think. I know that they were going for a whole Game of Thrones thing, but it's like, Game of Thrones actually has stuff going on in the plot other than, you know, people saying fuck or occasionally fucking on screen. Not that you actually really get to see any of that in the game. I don't think you even get to see Clive's butt after they had sex on the beach, him and Jill, after their failed attack on Barnabas on the ship when Odin shows up, and they get temporarily, like, marooned on a island. How did I forget the word island? how do you forget how words work? But, you know, it's implied, it's not implied, it's basically shown that the two got down. But it's like, you don't get to see anything. Oh, damn it, I just realized I forgot to grab the lighter. So, but you got Clive, Jill, every character except for Hugo, the guy who plays Titan. One of Clive's friends, whose name I forget, but he's like his friend who gets blinded in one eye. He either like loses the eye or they just like he just like gets, you know, swiped at, and that's how they get him. Him and Joshua, they're basically like the only characters who actually express any real emotion and are just like grimly determined through the whole thing, grimly monotonely going through it. But, you know, I don't know, I liked Final Fantasy 16 just fine. As much as I rag on the story and how I think it really needed to get, like, you know, an edit to make it slightly more robust than what we got, I like the game. I enjoy it a lot. It's not a perfect game, not by a long shot, but in terms of these action RPG Final Fantasy games they've been putting out recently, I think it's a pretty good one. I just think they should have let the guy be able to, the combat director, do more with the combat in the game. Like, they hired the guy who was the combat director for the Devil May Cry series, for crying out loud, to do the combat in their game. But it's like, it doesn't really show, does it? And, I just really think that... That was a waste. I should have just let her live. Just let her live out her life in this hallway. But, it's kind of like Baby's first DMC. Like, I kept trying to go harder on the system than it actually would let me be able to do. Like, I would try to do, like, combos into combos into combos, but it's like, okay, you're going too hard now, you need to tone it down a bit. And it just is like, it really feels like it wants to let you go harder into the system. I don't think it even really lets you go all out even on Final Fantasy difficulty, which is a shame because you would think that the hardest difficulty of the game would let you engage with the mechanics the most. But, you know, what do I know about game design? And now there's, like, nothing on the horizon for Final Fantasy, new Final Fantasy-wise, other than Remake 3, 7 Remake 3, which I know it'll be good, you know it'll be good, unless you're a hater. You know, they haven't really screwed any of the Final Fantasy 7 Remake series up. I don't think, anyway. So, it's like... But what are you going to do for Final Fantasy 17? You know, are you going back to turn-based? I doubt it. Are you going to... you know... Are you sticking with the action RPG pseudo Devil May Cry? I don't know any other action RPGs other than Dark Souls. I'm sorry. And it's like... I don't know. What are you going to do with Final Fantasy 17? I don't think even Square knows, because They got the guy, the director of 14, Yoshi P, producer, who he wants to go back to like a turn-based Final Fantasy. And it's like, yeah, you probably should. I also think you probably should have just bit the bullet and been like, Bravely Default is a Final Fantasy game, deal with it. Octopath is a Final Fantasy game, deal with it. But, you know, they haven't really said anything about a potential Final Fantasy 17. We all know they're going to make it, unless the industry completely falls apart, which it very well might. But, you know, it's like, what are you going to do? Balls in your court, cowards. What I think they should do, and this is me just armchair developing here, make Stranger of Paradise 2. I was going to do something, but then I realized I haven't even got the other half of the blue crest, so it's like, you're trying to save time when it's not even a thing you have to do yet. I was going to go arm up for the fight against the G-Adult in the second floor torture basement. Also, I just realized an hour or so in, I should probably apologize if I sound like death and like just filled to the brim with mucus, because I don't know, I think I might be getting sick. But, yeah. Why did we even start talking about Final Fantasy? That's a very good question. It amuses me, though, how all these, you know, couple years after the fact, one, you actually still got people still talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think that's Remake Rebirth. Whereas you got other games that come out today, and it's just like, well, I hope you enjoy your week in the sun, because you will never be talked about again. Like, I don't know how it's going to come out. I'm sure it'll come out around the time of the Jeff Keighley Awards. You know, when people are just like, put Crimson Desert as a GOTY nominee, or else this is all rigged and fake, and etc., etc. But, like, have you seen anyone really talk about Crimson Desert recently? It seems like we've hit the two week or so mark, and now it's just gone. It happens all the time recently, and it's kind of sad. It's like, I want to see games last longer than a month in general discussion. On the one hand, it's great because you can just sort of hold on tight and just ride the wave of the latest controversy. But it's like, I want to see people talk about, you know, Code Vein. I'll go with Code Vein as an example. Talk more about that for a second instead of just being like, it released and now it's gone. You know, for the first month-ish, people were going wild over that Crimson Desert game, talking about how you can, like, dropkick people, suplex people. I mean, people still play it, obviously, but it's like, the general conversation I've seen about it has more or less just petered out.
Claire!
Sherry, you're okay.
I'm glad
Okay, I
to
don't
see
need to
you
go back for
safe,
the lighter.
Claire.
I just played this game earlier today, and I'm already forgetting whether or not I need to go places to do things later on in the run to make it easier for myself. But, yeah, people still actually talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I think is great because that's
I'm
actually
going
a good
down
game.
there.
It's
Stay
never
here and wait for me,
anything
okay?
like particularly deep about the game. It's always basically just like, have you noticed Tifa and Aerith? There you go. That's it. That's the end of the conversation right there. But you know, at least it's something. Did you know that there was a Ninja Gaiden 4 that came out last year? And that there was even a DLC to like wrap that up properly? That is a thing that happened, but no one remembers it because there's just so many games that come out, and it's just like... Okay, cool. Moving on. Not even like the action game freaks got into it. And you think that'd be like their number one? Because aside from Ninja Gaiden, what have you really got? You got God of War? That's not what it used to be.
So you've made it this far.
There hasn't been a Devil May
Not
Cry
bad, girl.
in
I'm not
5, 6
letting anyone
years.
leave my town.
So-
Everyone's gonna die.
Calm down, Chief.
I guess it's only been like a couple years if you want to count
You couldn't possibly
the phone
understand
game,
what's happened.
Edge of Combat, I think it's called.
Monsters from Umbrella have destroyed
But
my
you know,
beautiful
no one
town.
really talks about
How
that
could
because
they do
it's a
that
phone
to me
game.
after everything
Why
I've
would
done
you?
for them?
So it's true. You have
It's
been
a shame
working with
about these
Umbrella.
phone games though,
Then
because
you
there's
must know
some of
about
them
the
that have like
G-Virus.
interesting
What
ideas,
is it?
and it's just
Tell
like
me.
you could actually do stuff with these
agent
phone
can turn
games if you
humans
just
into
like
ultimate bio.
removed the predatory
Experience the
gotcha
T-Virus
mechanics
in
and just
every
release
way.
it on
Dr. William Burns is a
Steam,
genius.
PlayStation, and Xbox
William Burke.
as a game, like a full
I'm
game.
Sure you've already
I'm
seen
sure
this
there'd be
little
plenty of
girl
people who would
running
like to
around
buy
here somewhere. Seriously,
Zenless Zone Zero, Punishing Ray
in case you
Raven,
haven't already figured.
Blue Archive, things like
The
that.
monster
They would
that's
probably
been
love to
tearing
actually just buy these
But
games
yet
and have them
another
as
product
games.
of the G-Virus.
I would.
Ultimate bio.
I keep... There's a
Umbrella's been trying to
spin-off
cover
for
its
the
tracks.
phone game Girls Frontline,
If I have to go,
Operation
I'm going to take
Baker
you
Girl.
with me.
Codename Baker Girl. That I like that game because it's set in the same universe as GFL, but it's just you know an actual video game that you buy and play for money, and not you have to roll for the gacha. But you know you can't really do that anymore, I guess, because you need to make your infinite money, or else you're just going to get shut down. And your game's going to be shot and buried in a shallow grave. You know what? I'm just going to, just for a quick little second here. I don't know how loud this was going to be otherwise. I'm just going to mute the game for a second. I just wanted to mute it so that way I didn't like blow anyone's ears out when I just lay into this guy with a machine gun. I don't know how loud it is. Punishing Ray Raven, though, that's an interesting game. I like it. I know that a lot of people really got into it because of the time they had Dante and Virgil from Devil May Cry in it. But I always just thought it was kind of an interesting little game. But, you know, it's a phone game, so no one really plays it or pays it any mind. Wow, you're still alive. You know, but it's like, if they made like a just a retail release of the game, I'm sure it would do well. I think that there's going to be just a retail release of Zenless Zone Zero. At least I've seen a like a physical release of the game. I don't know if that's just going to be the free-to-play game, but you're paying $50 for it. That could be okay if it was just like a game that you bought for money. I'm trying my best to not have as much dead air as last time by actually like just keeping the ramble train going, and it is doing a number on me. But
Claire,
you
came back.
I can't believe the man who developed the
I don't even know what the
G-virus
deal with
is
Sentinel
actually
Zone
his
Zero is, if
father.
I'm being perfectly honest.
What's wrong, Claire?
The only thing I
It's
really know
nothing.
about it is the
But I think I found a way out of
wolf
here.
girl,
We should be
rabbit
able
girl,
to find someplace
Miyabi,
safe if we can just make
and
it
the
out
blue
of town.
demon girl. That's about it. I don't know
But
anything
Don't
else
worry,
about the
I'll
game. I could not
protect
tell you
you.
what it's
I
about at all.
promise. But you have to make sure you don't leave
But
my side.
you know, it's like I'm sure people would spend money on it and
Leon,
buy
are you
it
still there?
if it was
We're
just
leaving.
a game you could buy for $40.
It'll be all right. Trust me.
But,
we found a way to the sewer. Follow us later.
I don't know. Phone games are an odd duck to me. Especially with the fact that so many of them are actually seeing releases on Steam. Like, I don't think anyone really expected them to just, like, put Uma Musume out on Steam. I don't think anyone expected them to do Grand Blue on Steam. I mean, they probably should have since they put out Uma, but... You know, I don't think anyone really expected them to just all of a sudden with these various phone games just be like, and now it's on PC. So you can just play it with your computer there and not have to do your phone stuff, or you don't have to jump through the hoops of signing up to various websites to be able to sign into Grand Blue Fantasy, which was already translated in English anyway. Why the hell did you have to do that? Seriously? Jerry, come on. You were right there. You just got stuck on nothing? Ugh. But I don't even know how the Grand Blue port is doing on Steam anyway. I don't know how well it runs. I haven't played it. I haven't played Grand Blue in forever. Like, I used to play it a lot on the browser version that you had to go through Line, I think it was, to be able to set up a account to be able to play the game that way. But, like, I haven't played the Steam re-release because I just haven't had the inclination to do so. But,
Come on, let's get out of here.
I don't know. I just like the fact, though, that you can play Uma Musume on Steam now, so you can just, like, screenshot your horses. Silent Suzuka, Meisho Dodo, Tachyon.
Run!
Girl of preference here. Versus having to, like, try to screenshot your phone. Maybe it's just because I'm old, I can't really screenshot on phone very well. I never really understood why this happens. Why did this door open to just suck Sherry down into the abyss? Of course, also looks like she's just standing under a waterfall of sewer water, which, oh boy. That's gonna do well for your infection later. But, is it just because... Did they just decide to put these out on Steam because they're just like, hey, wait a second. Steam... Huh. Okay, well, that's interesting to know. I was blown away because I've never actually bothered looking at, like, the keyboard controls for the original Resident Evil 2. You can use the number pad to control characters here. Which is really unfortunate for me because I have the microphone mute button on 2. So if I ever just look like I'm just randomly, like, walking backwards for no good reason, that's because my unmute is on 2 and I just coughed directly into your ears again. I kind of want to find out what the other keyboard buttons are now.
Claire?
This was a game that released on PC in like the year 2000, so it's gonna have some sort of obscure jank control scheme. Because WASD, WASD wasn't like the standard yet, but... Huh, now I'm just curious about that. I do like the fact, though, that with the GOG release of Resident Evil 2, you can just straight up use a PlayStation 5 controller, so that's nice. There are some games where you need to have, like, an Xbox controller, because it won't recognize PlayStation controllers at all. This isn't a game necessarily, but looking at you, PC SX2, you're a PlayStation emulator. Why doesn't a PlayStation controller work with you? Maybe I just need to update that. Oh, I should have just saved that. But, So, but yeah, unlike Final Fantasy, to go back to RPGs for a minute, I've decided to start playing Octopath Traveler 0, because one day I was just sort of dooting around doing whatever, and it's like, you know what, let's just give that a shot. For no real reason, let's just give it a whirl, see what's going on with Octopath. I've never played Octopath Traveler 1 or 2, but there's a demo for 0, we can give that a try. And now I'm roughly 35 hours into Octopath 0, so it's like, I guess it's good, I like it. I enjoy this video game. I wonder where people generally stand on the idea of the silent, named, unnamed protagonist. Like your Persona 5, your Persona MCs, your Metaphor MC. You know, basically any RPG where it's just like, you gotta put in the name. Do you like that? Are you like, yeah, it makes me feel like I'm in the video game? Or do you prefer it if they do like what a lot of Western RPGs have been doing with like Dragon Age or Mass Effect, where it's just like, you know, you got your name, but your character is referred to as Shepard, Rook, the Pathfinder, things like that. It's like, do you prefer that? Do you prefer the game just being like, it's this guy, we're with our, you know, our leader here is doing the thing, it's, he made this decision, he made this call, that sort of thing. Or do you prefer when it's like Shepard, Rex and Shepard? Or V from Cyberpunk, I guess. That's another good one.
Who are you? Oh, I see. Another spy sent by Umbrella, right? Let me guess. You're here to steal my husband's G-Virus, aren't you? You are tenacious, I'll give you that.
Husband?
Husband?
Then you must be Annette. Sherry's
Did
mother?
anyone ever even
What?
say Annette's
Sherry's
name
wandering
in
around
this
alone
game?
in the sewers. You have to help
Like,
me find
I don't
her.
think
That's
that
impossible.
Chief
I told her to
Irons
go to the
ever said her
police station.
name. I don't think
What's she doing here?
it'd be weird
William
if
will
Sherry
be after
called her Annette. But it's like,
William?
did anyone ever
That's
actually
right.
call Annette
The
Annette?
creature that's been causing all this destruction is none
I don't
other
know.
than my own husband.
Like, they refer to William as William, but it's like, I don't think anyone ever actually says, you know, Annette Birkin.
This way.
Again, I apologize that for
It's
the
sheer
Twitch
perfection.
viewers, you
My
don't get to
precious
see this
G-Virus.
wonderful cutscene with the precious
No one will
G-Virus.
ever take you away from me.
But, my glorious YouTube followers will get to see the video because I'm recording it
There he is.
twice.
So you finally come.
Doctor,
I just had to
we're
remember
here
to
to collect
mute
the
the audio
G-virus sample.
because otherwise we'll get
Sorry,
double audio and no one wants
But I
that.
won't just hand over my life's work.
You might hit the sample.
I always thought it was kind of funny that the whole reason why
That's
William
it, all
Birkin
right.
dies here is
Okay, let's
because
move out.
of a thermos. If it wasn't for that thermos, would he have made it? Would they have just arrested him?
William. Oh my. Hold on, darling. I'm taking
Was
care
he
of
done
that
in
old
by
wound
Annette's
first.
thermos of
Stay
soup?
here.
That'd be kind of funny.
Alpha team, have you retrieved the sample yet?
Also, why did William just happen to have just like a
Roger.
random vial of the G-virus when he had his entire virus briefcase there?
Are you telling me that he injected the G-virus into his own body?
The G-virus has the ability to revitalize cellular functions.
The G-virus has the abilities to do
What was
whatever
that?
you want it to do.
Something's wrong. Let's check it out. Over there. Shoot!
Why,
Eat this, you freak!
in less than 20 years' time, it turns out
Stopping
that
it!
the
What is
G-virus
this thing?
makes you fundamentally immortal with regeneration powers.
Hurry!
Until Resident Evil Requiem, in which case the G-virus apparently is doing nothing and you're dying anyways. Sucks for you, Sherry.
What is this thing? Fire! Fire!
That's a question about Resident Evil Requiem that I think a lot of people have, but it's like, the game didn't address it, so I guess it doesn't matter. I really kind of wished that Resident Evil Requiem,
So
Requiem.
those rats were the carriers of the virus?
How did Annette
As
know
a
about
result
this,
of
by
this
the way?
virus-induced transmutation,
How did Annette
William
know
should have
about
lost any
the
prior
rats
memories he
eating the
had as a human by
G-virus?
now. I tried to save him, but
How did they know about the? How did she
What?
know about the
And
rats
that's not even the
eating
entire
William's
story.
creation?
Every G-virus bioweapon, including William, has the
You know,
ability to implant
how-
embryos into other
How
life
did she
forms.
know?
That's why he's after Sherry.
What are you trying to say?
The
I
bodies of
love it in the
individuals with
remake,
non-related genetic code are likely to reject
When the
embryo.
scene happens
Since Sherry
with
is this
Claire, because I think Leon gets
possibility is
the
non-existent. It's an
a
inherent
different
survival
scene
instinct.
where William injects himself with the G-virus.
It's Sherry. You go that way.
Claire gets the cutscene, you know, and that's there just looking at William, who's been shot to death. He stands up, just screams, "G is my creation!" And then it instantly starts turning into the G-virus monster. I love that scene, that's so fun. I just love how pathetic the guy who voiced Birkin made him sound there. Like, nearly every week, ever since that game's come out, I've always just sort of like looked up the particular scene of William Birkin just screaming, "G is my creation." I actually have like a little, I recorded that myself just because it amuses me so much. I shouldn't say that because, you know, it's a tragic scene. William Birkin destroyed all of Raccoon City at this point. But it's just like, it's such a goofy scene. You gotta like it when Resident Evil decides to just sort of engage in the silliness. Like, I love how in this version of the game, you're not supposed to see him, but there's the alligator. He's just right there. He's just chilling. Like, I'm sure in the PlayStation version, on the PS5, the re-release there, the water is dark enough that you can't actually see the crocodile, but he's probably there. He's probably still just chilling there. But I just love how he's just hanging out there in the bottom of the sewage water, just waiting for his cue, basically. But I kind of wish, and I know that they can't do this because you can't put literally everything from every game and everything else, but like, there's a plot point in Resident Evil Requiem that features characters who turned evil suddenly at a point in Resident Evil 8 Village, where you know, Chris Redfield and his guys are in
Wake up, Sherry.
wherever Eastern Europe, wherever Village is set. I don't remember where exactly it's set in Europe, just like how Resident Evil 4 is set in not Spain.
It hurts.
But
Don't worry. You'll be fine.
I'm just gonna spoil it. In Resident Evil 8, you come across a document that reveals that the BSAA, the Biosecurity Allegiance Association, something like that. I don't remember what the second A stands for. The BSAA, the anti-bioterrorism weapon group. It turns out that they're using virused up soldiers themselves in the village. And so Chris, at the end of the game, is like, he's going to go take them down. He's going to take down the BSAA. Nothing ever really comes of it because the DLC then is the Shadow of Rose DLC, which is about Ethan Winters' daughter, but it's a plot point that gets brought up, and they haven't brought it back up, so I can only assume it doesn't really matter in the long run. No one really cares about the story of Resident Evil anyway. I care. I've been playing these games for nearly my entire life, so I'm invested in the story. But, like, with the BSAA stuff, it's like, what even... Why were the BSAA there in Raccoon City after the Thermobaric bombing? I think it was called Thermobaric bombing, because it used to be that it got nuked, but then someone at Capcom realized that, wait, if you say that the thing is nuked, you can't actually go back to Raccoon City, so I guess we're changing that to Thermobaric fire bombings, basically. Is there an item box? I don't think there is. I don't think that there's an item box between here and the train. I mean, there's one near the train, but then you gotta backtrack again. Oh well, I guess I don't necessarily need to get the 2 additional boxes of grenades, but I don't know, it annoys. I'm annoyed now. It's always something. Whenever I play this game, I always forget to do something, and it just, like, eats some time off of it. And I used to be able to beat this game pretty quickly, because this was, like, the one game I had as a kid, so I would just play this a lot. Yeah, I forgot the lighter, so... Weapons box key, I guess we'll see you in the next life. But, when they brought the BSAA back for Resident Evil Requiem, I'm gonna call it Requiem, it abuses it more. I was like, really? The BSAA? Are we just foregoing the original plot that we set up in Resident Evil 8? And the answer appears to be kind of. Because the BSAA in Requiem, they're apparently doing their own thing where they're trying to get to the secret underground Umbrella Lab that was underneath the secret Umbrella Lab in Raccoon City. Come on, Siri. Which, that's another question that it's like no one, you know, it's just a show, just relax. But it's like, how many secret labs does Umbrella have? Had. You got Nest, which was underneath the orphanage in Resident Evil 2 remake. You got Nest 2, which is set on like the other side of the city where they were making the Nemesis. And all the stuff about the NE parasites. So it's like, you had those two, and you had the Elpis labs? That's kinda crazy, isn't it? How many secret labs do you really need in a 50-mile radius of each other? I don't know how big Raccoon City is. But it's like, do you really need to have, like, you know, Nest 1, Nest 2, Elpis, which I guess is technically like Nest 3. It has a name, actually. And then you have people who claim that the stuff from the movies is also somehow canon with the games, which, no, it's not. So it's like, but if it were somehow true, you then have the, is that loud? I don't know if that was too loud for you. I should probably just lower the volume there anyway, just in case.
Claire, my stomach hurts.
Without really thinking about it, I just sort of auto-mashed through that cutscene.
Hang in there, Sherry.
But it's fine, it's just a train going down an elevator.
Burning up. I've got to hurry before the embryos pupate.
But, I don't understand why they had the, Plant 42 plants be in Renaiwium. I know it's probably just like a callback, but it's like, who really was wanting those back? I'm sure there's someone who wanted Plant 42 back. I wonder if they're gonna do a remake of the original, remake of Resident Evil 1 anymore. Because if you believe the rumors from, the next Resident Evils are going to be remakes of Zero and Code Veronica. I guess I could just turn it down here. Yeah, that'll be fine, probably. But, the next games are gonna be remakes of Zero and Code Veronica, which, why Code Veronica of all games? I know people keep saying that they're never going to do it because you can't do that these days, but it's like, I want to see what they're going to do when they inevitably have to try to remake 5 and 6. Because as much as people like to rag on Resident Evil 5 for the, you know, the racial caricatures, you need to remember Resident Evil 6 featured the C virus in China. So it's like, oh boy, that's going to be awkward to handle, isn't it? The C virus? But anyway. I liked Resident Evil. I like the Resident Evil
Sherry.
series. I've never played a bad mainline Resident Evil game, in my opinion. Except for maybe Code Veronica, and whether or not you consider that a mainline game, that's a whole different matter for debate. But, like, people didn't like 5 because you had to play co-op, or with a bad AI. Resident Evil 6, similar reasons, but also you got the 4 different types of action game, horror game that it is.
Claire?
Oh,
But
you're
I've
finally
enjoyed
awake.
every single one of these games, even
Isn't
the games
this-
that I didn't
That's
think
okay.
I was gonna
You
like.
keep it. I'm sure it'll keep you safe.
Thank you, Claire. Even though I'm an only child, neither of my parents ever spent much time with me because of their work. I grew up alone, but now that you're with me, I finally have someone to rely upon.
You know, given how everyone likes to focus on and complain about the recent plot developments of
Sherry,
Alex from Street
rest
Fighter,
here for a bit.
I'm
I'll be right
surprised a lot of
back,
people just sort
as
of
soon as
let
I
it
found the
go
antidote for
that the G virus required them to have a living relative in order to like do its thing, you know? You figure people would have had more of an issue with that. With the implications of William Birkin and the G virus's inclinations for how to propagate itself. But oh wow, that's really low HP. I should probably, yeah. I don't want to say that it's just like the G virus is the incest virus, but it's like it kinda is, really. There isn't any other virus that required you to find a living relative to propagate itself. Ouroboros didn't need Wesker to find Alex Wesker, you know? C-Virus was doing its own thing. T Veronica, T Abyss. The T-Virus kind of reminds me of Gundams. It's like, here's a variation of the virus you know and love, but it looks slightly different. This one is gray and black instead of black and blue, white and blue. That's an obscure Gundam reference sort of thing to say. Damn it. I don't remember this is a good thing to do for Leon B, but I'm doing it anyway. I don't remember if the anti-BOW spray is a good thing to use overall. That guy probably would have taken my head off if I didn't get him immediately. But, yeah, no, you know what, they should take a break from, like, remaking Resident Evil and making all these big mainline Resident Evil games. They should make a Revelations 3. I know that they said that that's what Village was originally going to be. Like, Village was originally going to be, Leon in, Eastern Europe. And that's when Ada was going to show up, or I might be misremembering. I just remember that Ada was supposed to show up and help the protagonist with the Resident Evil Village stuff. But I think they changed it because they wanted to just make it Ethan Winters' own adventure versus, you know, referencing old stuff again, which, why is Chris there then at that point? But, I think they should make another Revelations 3 because I think these spin-off side story games, they can be fun to do. I don't know necessarily what you would do with the story for Revelations 3 versus what you did with 2 or even 1, where it was, what if there was a virus outbreak on a cruise liner? Which I think is just a fun little reference to the Game Boy Color Resident Evil Gaiden game that no one played. But, I don't think anyone really necessarily would want them to go back to, making it a episodic story game. You know, where you got 4 episodes, and, you split the difference between Barry and Natalia and Claire and Moira. I don't think anyone would really want that. I think that you probably want just like a more traditional Resident Evil, but you can make a smaller Resident Evil, is all I'm saying. Also, I need them to quit, like, teasing that they're going to make, like, an open world Resident Evil. I can't handle that. The idea of them making a big open world Resident Evil game, it's just... I don't care for this idea. And they tease it every so often. It's just like, is this the one that's gonna go open world? No, but what if it did? And every time they do it, it's like, is now the time? Also, it's like every single Resident Evil entry ever since 5 has always been, is this the one that's going to just be like a full-on reboot? Where they're going to just like take the story, throw it away, and just start over again entirely. They haven't done it yet, but like every single entry in Resident Evil, that's always like the threat. It's like, this will be the time, this is the time we're going to do it, we're going to do it for real. Of course, this is always just like, just some guy saying this. You know, his dad worked for Capcom, and during the Capcom story meeting, they were just like, what if? What if this is the time that we make Resident Evil just be its own, just reset the story again? You can't hear it, but I was just gripped with absolute terror over the fact that liquor has ended runs several times for me recently. Like, I'll be in caution, and I'll be like, oh, I'll be fine, and then off with your head. So, I was clenching pretty hard. I think we're more or less free at this point up until we get to Birkin. Going with the bowgun because you need the grenade launcher for the Birkin fight. I don't think anyone ever actually uses the bowgun. Why did they give Claire a bowgun anyway? Why her? Why'd she get a crossbow? Why not just let both characters have a shotgun? It's just a really odd choice, you know? Like in Resident Evil 1, both characters got the shotgun there. You know, Jill Sandwich and Chris, they both got the shotgun. We'll just let him live. But for this one, Kendo's selling a crossbow instead of a shotgun, and it's like...
Annette!
You killed William. I'll never forgive you for that.
Wait!
I've just prepared a
Is
sample
Annette
of this
psychic?
virus, and this time, no one will take it from me. This is the most significant piece of research my husband has ever left in my hands.
Stop it! Sherry's in serious trouble. William implanted her with his embryos. There's no telling when they'll pupate. And if that happens...
That's actually
Sherry
another
won't.
question. How does Claire know this?
What? William.
I guess maybe she just pieced it together because Irons mentions that Birkin is looking for her to try to do that, but it's like, how does she know? How is she aware of the fact that William... I'm just gonna end that thought there because there is no good way to finish that sentence. My cowardice wins out in the end. Oh, flashing light warning, I suppose. I should probably have mentioned that well before the thing instead of 10 seconds afterward, but flashing lights. But, like, how did Annette know that Claire killed William? How does Claire know that William infected Sherry with the G-Virus embryos? These people are making a lot of assumptions. Also, I'm always just amused by going to do the computer thing there after Annette gets it here, because it's like, you hear the horrific dying, screaming,
Tell me
and
what
it's
I
like,
need to
okay,
know.
but
How can I
I
save
need
Sherry?
to send an
I have
email.
detailed information. Everything you need to know to prepare
Gotta
the
update
antidote
the
is
Insta.
right here.
Ye old 1998 Insta.
Save my daughter.
Oh, now I'm just having
And tell
dumb
her
thoughts
I'm
about
sorry I wasn't
going
a better
through the Raccoon City outbreak.
Tell her I love her.
What up, TikTok? Here we are in Raccoon City, where
Annette!
the zombie infestation is happening, and it's just like, influencers deserve to
Self-destruct
die.
sequence has been activated. Repeat, the self-destruct sequence has been activated. This sequence may not be aborted. All employees proceed to the emergency car at the bottom platform.
I wonder what it is exactly that sets off the detonation here. Because you'd think that it'd be Leon or Ada, but at this point, Leon is like in the middle of fighting Mr. X, and Ada, I think, at this point is, you know, as far as he's aware, dead. So it's like, who decided to set off the self-destruct sequence? Was it Birkin himself? Did William decide to just go to the computer and just claw, you know, hunt and peck with his clawed hands the keys to begin the detonation?
Leon, you made it!
Claire, is that you? Where are you?
I can see you on the monitor. But never mind that right now. Leon, you have to go back and get Sherry for me. I left her in the security office. Please, you must save her.
Wait a second. What are you gonna do? Where are you going?
I still have a few loose ends to take care of. I'm counting on you.
Just William Birkin just hunting and pecking on the keyboard to begin the detonation. Just going... Maybe it's an Ivy that did it. plant monsters had enough and they're taking the facility down with no survivors. It's a very silly and dumb thought that I was having, but it's just, it amused me. So it's an amusing thought to think about. Also, the giant tree monster here, the plant monster, that I guess is the one that goes on to become the plant boss. It's a boss, yeah, sure. In Reninium, I guess that's this plant here. With its suggestive growth. One second, hang on. Just jam to the music for a second, please. Okay. But yeah, I guess the self-destruct sequence isn't that good if the plant monster here was able to, you know, more or less escape unscathed and just keep growing and growing in the ruins of Raccoon City. Because I think, I might be misremembering, but I think, like, the Steam trophies just calls it, like, Plant 42, and it's like, okay. I assume it's just a reference, but you never know. Maybe it actually is secretly this plant from 30-odd years ago. Oh no! Oh god, this is gonna be so embarrassing if I die to a zombie. For instance, I thought that guy was dead. I thought he had the red under him. Part of me wants to go run back to the safe room just to get an herb, but I know that I'll just die on the way. Because there's naked zombies in that hallway. I also know that there's another Ivy in this hallway. I know there are naked zombies in the hallway leading to the end of the game. And it's like, am I once again going to just, like, completely punt my run? I think that's going to happen, and I'm actually really quite annoyed about that. I killed this guy. Why is he back? Are you serious? You have no idea how tempted I am to just... No, wait, no, I can't even do that yet anyway. I need to go finish making the vaccine. But yeah, no, with my little goals here, they can see on the bottom of the screen next to Burn Castle, who looks delighted. I wasn't really sure what to put as, like, milestone goals. Like, I don't know what games people generally like. I kinda have, like, a vague insinuation of what I think people enjoy, but it's like... I couldn't really name a popular game if you put a gun to my head. It's like, do the kids like the original translation of Pathologic? I doubt it, but it's like, I don't think anyone would go for 10 followers. I'll play Pathologic 1 on stream. No, that's gonna be like a 5 follower goal. But it's like, I know people like Path of Exile, and it's like, I've never played Path of Exile 1. It was always one of those things where I didn't really care to find out because I wasn't, like, nearly as into Diablo as people were back in the day. Like, Path of Exile 1 came out before Diablo 3 did, and people were like, oh, this is good, we don't need a Diablo 3 anymore. But I never really played it. I think I tried it once for like 5 minutes, and I just sort of gave up instantly. But because I've put in 200 hours into Path of Exile 2, which is it's another one of these Diablo-likes, but I like it because, and this is gonna sound dumb and trite, it's kind of like Dark Souls, because it's got, like, dodge rolling. I like that a lot, and it's like, maybe I should try the original. Even though it's a different game where you don't get nearly the same mechanics as Path 2, PoE 2. Well, hopefully this is enough to actually do the thing. I'm really debating if I should just, like, make a safety save, or if I should just move on and just roll the dice. Of course, part of me also wants to take the submachine gun, but I don't want to keep just, like, destroying everyone's ears by using it. So, fuck it, we ball. Hopefully 42 grenades and arrows are enough to do it. I'm gonna be very annoyed when it turns out that no, that's not enough. But Path of Exile 1, I've watched, like, streams of it. It looks fine. I just don't really have much of an interest in it.
5 minutes until detonation.
It just looks like it plays too much like an old Diablo type of game. Like, I don't really care about, like, they took Diablo 2 and they made it run better. You know, I'm sure that there are good action RPGs, Diablo-likes, that they made in between Diablos 2 and 3 in 2016, but it's like, I'm not really invested in them. So if I can get 10 follows on here, YouTube, 8-bit Tumblr, 8-bit Supervillain on Tumblr.com, yeah, I'll play 10 hours of Path of Exile. I'm willing to give that a shot. I'm also, as much as I don't like it, and it's part of the reason why it's in my description here, I don't like Diablo 4, but I am extremely interested in Lord of Hatred. The Paladin and the Warlock those are interesting things that they are adding to the game that I'm willing to give a shot for. I would like an excuse to try these games. And I apparently need external justification and not just because I feel like playing a video game. Honestly, who plays games for fun and enjoyment anymore these days? You gotta monetize, monetize, monetize! Fucking goddamn it, son of a bitch! Fucking knew this was gonna happen. Fucking knew it. Every time this happens. Every time. This is like the 5th time in 3 days. I get to Birkin. He's just about dead. He bullshits me into... And I die, and it's like... I've done this before. I did this a week ago. I did this a week ago on the PlayStation 5. Why can't I do it on GOG? Why can't I do it on stream? Is it performance anxiety? I don't know. It's really... pissing me off. I don't even really know how the original Fourth Survivor goes anymore. I played so much of the remake version of the Fourth Survivor that it's like... I can do that one like the back of my hand, but I haven't played regular Fourth Survivor
Mission accomplished.
in so long.
Rendezvous at the meeting point.
Yeah, okay, I think I can do this. But the reason why I decided to make the 500 followers goal there is I don't remember exactly why, but I recall talking to someone and the notion occurred to me that what I should do, just as like a fun little impossible, it's never gonna happen type of goal, is you know, do a stream but maid outfit. And I kinda just want to do that. I don't have a webcam, but oh come on. I'm not even gonna make it out of the basement before I die. So it's like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, wouldn't that be an amazing thing to do? It would amuse me. The secondary goal was really just like a last second addition because of things, but it just seemed like a fun little idea. Perhaps even to mark the occasion, I would even get a webcam so you could see the outfit, at least. Maybe not necessarily on me, but... No, you would. If 500 of you decide to follow me just to see that on the off chance, I would 100% debase myself for your entertainment that way. Debase yourself, like he says like it's not just something that he's doing because it amuses him in particular and he wants to secretly do it. But yeah. Like, I was trying to think of like games that people like to like, and it's like, you know, for however many followers, I'll play X, Y, and Z, and it's like the only games I can really think of are like art creators or Marathon. And it's like I'm not playing either of those. I just don't care to. Also, I'm not making it through this. We all know this. I would be genuinely surprised if we even made it to the second floor. I kind of thought we were going to make it slightly farther than one room later. Oh well. Anywho, I would like to thank you for stopping by, watching me fail again at Resident Evil. I thought it was a pretty good attempt. I think it would have been a better attempt if I actually succeeded, but, you know, them's are the breaks. So if you enjoyed this, please do give me a follow. I'm not even asking you to subscribe on Twitch, because I don't have subscriptions anyway. But feel free to give me a follow. I want to try to stream more often again. And maybe next time I could actually finish the damn game instead of just dying right near the end. Wouldn't that be fun? Finish a video game instead of just like play for an hour and a half to 2 hours and then just fail utterly right at the end? Oh well. Until next time, I need you to remember that